All right. Howdy, folks. My name's Dave. I'm a woodturner. And I started turning as therapy for PTSD. I found out I had a knack for it. I fell in love with it. And then I started teaching it and fell in love with that. So I started this channel to become a better teacher, a better demonstrator, and a better turner because the more I share what I've learned with other turners, the more it comes and, gets cemented back into my own head. So it's a win-win, right? So yeah, turning should be fun, I think. But can't forget that the secret sauce is practice, practice, practice. All right, so I got a little bit of late start today, and I got the opportunity to take classes, or take a class rather, from Rudy Lopez. He came into our town here. I need to pull my handle out of this guy. That's the one I want. And some tool steel. Anyway, he club hired him to come out do a demo, and he agreed also to do 2 days of classes. The first day of class was for all the newer or brand new turners, and that was a lot of fun. I was there trying to help out, and it was pretty cool watching these newer turners get after it, man. Then the second day was the more advanced, more advanced turners. So 8 students on the first day, 8 students on the second day, and Rudy he's just a really great educator. He can just keep. I mean, it's like he just keeps it going all the time. It's amazing. Anyway, so got to meet Rudy at Aramont, I guess about 5 years ago, maybe 6. And so it was nice to see him in town. We hadn't seen each other face to face pretty much since Aramont, I guess. Anyway, just in case you're out there, howdy, Rudy. Thanks for coming to town. I think I'll start with that guy. I'm just checking. I've got that could probably use an edge. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an edge on my tools here. These are still fresh from the class, and I did not take the time to clean things up. And I should have. I don't think I did. Maybe I set them all outside. Well, let's see what we got to play with today. Could be seasoned wood. Could be a piece of green wood. Could do a turning like we did. That could be fun. Why don't I do that? I'll put a fresh edge on these 2 tool steels here, and then, well, I think the ball gouge is probably all right. So I'm going to touch up my spindle gouge real quick. And then I think I actually have to go outside. I thought I put some green wood in here. Gifted to me by my good friend TC Schmo Joe. Thanks, Joe. Get this grind right. I don't know. I don't know if I'll do that or, maybe I'll do a hollow form. I don't know. Got some green wood to play with, man. So, green maple. Yeah, that should be all right. Got the tiniest little hump right by the nose. Working out on this wheel here. Oh man, my oldest boy called me today, and I forgot to ask him about that GoPro competitor that he was raving about. A little less expensive and has more features, I guess, out of the box, and I can wear it on my head, so like when I'm doing this stuff and I'm off camera, you guys can see. Okay, so that guy's done. And I will pay attention to the mic too, because one of these crapped out early last week. Excuse me for a sec. So I've got one mic that does actually live up to its 7-hour run charge time, run time, whatever, and the other mic does just about 3 hours, so about half the life. But at least if it's fully charged, it at least gets me through most of a broadcast, if not all of it. All right, so I'm stepping outside real quick because I put these blanks out here for some reason. There they are. Oh yeah, that's that gnarly one. All right, I'm going for this gnarly one. This guy looks like it was not just, it's crotchwood, but it's three. It's a triptych. Okay. So groovy. So hope you all had an enjoyable week so far. There's a log. Let's see, that log is gonna need this to rest probably. And once I get this thing around, make that last decision whether it's going to be a hollow form or not, because that's crotchwood. Oh heck, I got to go fishing for. See my. All right, here's my drive center. Come on. Drive center, safety glasses. I gotta get rid of that hat. That hat. And grab this one. All right. Okay, so in Rudy's class, we did scalloped edged platters, bowls, whatever you want to call them, with this on a stand. And I've done a couple of those on this channel in the past. They're actually really, really fun to do. So I've got an idea that I want to play around with and see what we come up with. That's one of the options. The other one is it turns into a hollow form. So we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Depends on what kind of figure I see, I guess. Because it's crotchwood, I just want to see what it looks like once the bark's all off and it's cleaned up, and we get a better look at what's underneath the surface there. So let's turn this dude down. I think I'm in the right spot. Looks like I are. Okay. So, you know me, I like to start on a balance point. Want to minimize as much vibration as possible. I don't know if we'll be able to. Most of the time, I can pretty much eliminate it. It's not, you can't always get every little less, but you find a harmonic with your lathe too, lathe speed, that kind of gives you, since the oscillations are faster, it may dampen down the vibrations that you're getting. But you want to start at a slow speed and work your way up. It's just a tad bit light right there. So I'm going to bring this guy up one more little bit. Totally missed it. And that's probably too much. Yep. All right, so let's bring this guy up a little bit. So as long as I can put it anywhere, except for there, I guess. Well, it doesn't seem heavy there. Okay, well, we'll call that the balance point. She ain't moving. And let's make sure it's secure in the lathe while we're at it. Got to err on the side of safety. I don't want squirting out of the lathe if I can avoid it. And this is one good way to avoid it. Make sure it's secure. That's a little too close. All right, so I'm just going to quickly take all the bark off. Just done a series of push cuts, essentially. Well, not essentially, exactly. Just doing a series of push cuts across the surface. Another one that I might consider using a skew with, but because I've got these branches coming out here, these two branches, and that hard figure in there, if it was just one, maybe, but that's like too much hard end grain to go into to do a peeling cut, in my opinion. With a skew. And basically that's just push cut, but it's a peeling cut. Because I'm going from the inside or the outside of the tube to the inside. So that didn't get all of it off, but it knocked down this stuff. So there's going to be some figure here. Wow. Yeah, this might turn into a hollow form because I won't be able to capture that. Really, well, man. I guess part of it depends on how far that goes in. And since let's see, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can see kind of like 7 rings. They're really close together. It's almost too difficult to see it, but so 7 rings is about halfway. So those branches were however old. I don't see where they came out through the bottom. So at some point, that pith that is going to meet the inside. So this figure should carry through, probably at an angle. But anyway, let's just keep going and see what we got before we make any final decisions. I just know that in the bull, definitely not in the foot, would I be able to capture that. I maybe, if I kept the bull super small, but this one might be a hollow form. One of the reasons why you stop and assess what's going on with the wood, see what's presenting itself. And then it is just like Christmas. You really don't know what's underneath the bark till you take the bark off. So I should have got rid of most of it. Let's take. Let's take and use the bow guide like a skew. Let's see if that, no, there's still a pretty good layer, cambium layer, but this drops down, oh, I don't know, half an inch. But if I make that, no, I don't want the neck up here. So if I made this the bottom of the hollow form, then this would mostly get cut away. So I think this is going to be the top. I think I want this to be a hollow form. Just look at all that. I don't know if you can see it on the camera very well, but there's a lot of figure in here. It almost wraps all the way around. So maybe even if I take the diameter down a little bit more, it will wrap all the way around. That would be cool. And this might be a really, really nice piece for like dye. Maybe. I don't know. It does have some interesting stuff there, though. Hey, she's spitting at me. All right. So now I can also make any like little minor adjustments I want to do. Grab my pencil over here. That's also in my travel bag. There we go. So let's see. Say that is the crown of that one, and that is the crown of that one. That is off by, well, at least 5/16. So if I tilt it this way, I might be able to get them to line up a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt the tailstock, and I want to tilt it this way. So I'm going to point that one off to the side there. And 3/8 of an inch, I'm going to say, might look something like that. And now let's take another look. Now it's way too, I may have gone the wrong direction. Or not enough. That could be a thing too. Huh, didn't seem like it even moved, and I did move it. Let's go further. Yeah, okay, I'm going the wrong direction. It's going to get a lot thinner that way, so let's go this way. Let's see, let's then go up. Let's try that. Nope, not up. No. Not up until that's pointed up. So I was gauging off the other one, now I'm gauging off that branchlet there. So it's getting closer. Just kind of playing around with ideas, man. You can move the piece all over the place until you lock it down on a glue block, or you cut a tenon for it for a chuck. And then once you do that, that's pretty much your orientation. So I like to catch as much of this, so that would be the crown there, as I can. Ooh, I got it. Let's trace that one more time. Yep, I was going the wrong way. Okay, so that'll work. Let's see, that'll leave me. Well, let's take a look at what we see as this is spinning. I'm gonna have to. Okay, that's pretty secure. Slow it down. So since this is a Reese drive, I'm spinning this by hand and then turning my dial. I don't have a VFD. I want to make that change though. So for that, then, if I was going to go that thin, it would just be a really small hollow form, but it's going to take off almost an inch of material, and having that one move forces me to think about putting the shoulder up here instead, because I've got a lot more material to taper this down. So I'm going to flip this guy, and I'll still work from this side, but then this side won't be moving as much. So let's do that. Put you on the center. And it was that guy I was after. So let's try this. See about drawing that line again. Oh man, I got really close, like first go. Nice. And it's not quite centered now, is it? Okay, let's try again. That's my crown. To the crown. All right. Nice when that happens. So then you'll see that the wider part, let's make sure this is secure. So the wider part will be up here now. And then the shoulder that I make, all that, I got a lot more to work with here. And then now this will be the bottom. So let's do something about that. It really is important to, and you'll pick up stuff like that as you go along in your turning journey. It's assessing the wood and seeing, what's presenting itself. And with the practice, it gives you a little bit more freedom to say, oh well, hey, I can change gears here as I'm doing. I was going to do one of Rudy's pieces. And this scallop is, dude. And just play around and see how thin I can get it. Thought that might be fun, but instead, I'm doing this. So a lot of that figure, okay, it will wrap almost all the way around. Very cool. It's funny, it's starting to look like a chewed up piece of chewed up dog stick or something. So I'll play around with this shoulder a little bit more here in a bit when I really want to focus in. If you see how, it looks like this is only turning just a little bit, but when you look at the end of the handle, that's a 90-degree turn and what, 2 feet of travel that the handle has to go when you're doing beads like that. And you can turn a bead with bow gouge. It has to be a wide bead or a shallow one. But you can turn beads with almost every tool. Okay, so now I'm going to speed it up some. this shape a little bit. Cut away some of that timber. So that's, I don't know, that's pretty close. We'll find that a little more in a little bit. Let's get down to a tendon area here. Wow, got a lot of water coming out. I haven't turned wood this green in a while. Alright, so I've got dovetail jaws. I like to chamfer those corners every chance I get. Let's get rid of that bark. Almost. I don't want to make the pan too small. That's pretty much just a thin layer of cambium, it looks like. So that'll be alright. Okay, let's work on refining this shape. So now I guess I really don't need the long dude. Oh, that reminds me. My tool rests are in this bag too. Let's let's go fishing. Okay, there's that one, Or no, I don't think it, did I take, oh, I did. I did take my, I think. I took more than one center tool rest, actually. You know, I forgot I've got a 6-inch straight, really low profile, or I don't know if that's what you call it. Maybe it's not low profile, but I'll show it on camera here in a second. I gotta uncover. Oh, wait, sorry. I'm betting that it's probably still on the other lathe. So put these tools away at least. Because my tool rest for this lathe has disappeared on me. I have no idea where it went. So this guy will do. And I got my spindle gouge. It's about right. That bead started. Boy, this is really wet. This is cool. I'm getting a shower. So maybe that means, well, we'll see. Maybe that means I'm not going to have, it's going to take a while to dry, so I won't have a ton of movement while I'm turning. Hopefully that's what that means. It is really wet. So now, how'd we do? Yeah, you know what? That's pretty close. It's not exactly dead on, but it's close. I don't want to take too much support away. I'm going to be hauling this dude out, but it's also green, so oh, you're not locked in there, buddy. Alright, hold on. So we're just doing a scrape here, very, very safe cut. It's not a handled tool, but you can't get a catch with a scrape. So I'm going to stick by that because I just can't see how that would happen. Although, you know, it's not a challenge either. I'll just say that out loud. Alright, so let's sit back a little bit here. I won't be able to do much of anything until the outside's actually dry. Or rather, I should say I won't be able to do much of anything to the outside of the vessel until the surface is dry. Normally what I would do, especially if I'm turning something green, is that I would wait. Like I would get my final form, and then I would wait for this surface to be dry enough to sand, and then I would do the hollowing. And sometimes it takes like an hour or 2 hours. It depends on the timber. It's not a terribly long time to wait. So the figure comes all the way to this point here, and then all the way to that point there. So there's just like, and it kind of looks like an X right there, but there's a, oh, I guess that would be right where the branches were. So not much figure like right here, but it almost wraps the entire piece. So that's cool. All right, let's see. Okay, that works for me. I just wanted to double check something on this shit. I like this shit. So we're gonna go with it. Let's do something about that first. So it's spinning pretty fast. And it's green wood. So I don't want it to come flying off the lathe. I don't normally part all the way through. In this case, it really doesn't matter because any pulled out grain that I'll have in the center, that's going to be turned away anyway. But I just make it a habit to cut through rather than use the parting tool to burrow all the way through, because once you pull this part, or sometimes even a parting tool will just pull fibers right out of the center, and if that is like your finished bottom there, you're in big trouble because there's nowhere else to go. Okay, let's get this guy off of here. And that wrench, did I make it here? Yay! I took it out of the tool bag. Say it lots and lots. It's such a much nicer way to get the drive center out of your headstock rather than beating it with the knockout bar. Is that abrasive any good? Not really. Okay. Let's get this guy in the chuck. So this surface here, since I want the piece to sit square against the flat of the jaws there.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going, Mav K14? How you doing, man? I want the bottom part of this to lay flat, square against the face of the jaw. So I've got to have a 90-degree angle cut in this way so that that is flat. I don't want to bottom this out in the chuck. I want it just sitting on the face of the jaws, but have enough meat for the jaws to hold on to. And then I can use the compression of the lathe to force it down flat, because that's a whole lot more force than what I can do and still be able to use both hands. So not quite running through. I'm going to adjust that. Because I want it running true. So the way that I'm going to do that, once again, reach into my bag back over here. Yeah, let's grab that feller. Running pretty true. Hey, Captain OB, how's it going, man? Got a little bit of a late start. Started at about 8:30, but okay, there we go. That's running true enough. All right, so move that guy out of the way. Let's bring this up for support. I'm going to get rid of this tenon here before I start hollowing, and actually Well, actually, I don't know. I think that's a decent. Well, let's do this. Let's measure it. I think that's a decent width for the mouth of this dude. So I'll use straight edge here, which gives me about 1, 2, about 4 inches. And that rim, so if I go 1 through, so we'll put this in the center line, and then we'll count what we got here. Well, that's basically 2 inches to that edge. That is 3/4 of the way there. I think I'd like it to be a little bit smaller. Somewhere in here. Okay. Now I can see the figures coming all the way around. Nice. But you got to, man. All right, so I'm going to take that. I think I'm going to take that bead down a little bit more. So that'll give me another excuse to really screw this up now that it's on the truck. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better size. Net for this piece. Watching with Rudy. Hey, cool, man. Very cool. So I have to come back here just a little bit. Once we turn this surface up again. I don't know if you caught it earlier there, Rudy. Still really stoked that you made it out, man. I was gonna do one of those scallop edge pieces, but then I found this had a little bit of nice figure in it that I couldn't capture. I couldn't capture it in the scallop head hollow form, so I had these two branches. It was a crotch piece, but it was 3 branches. So this figure goes all the way around this piece, but I wouldn't have been able to capture those 2 bits in the bowl or the definitely not in the feet, but not in the bowl of the piece either. At least I didn't think I could. So instead, it turned into a hollow form, which is all right too. So I'm just taking a heavy enough cut to seal up the piece. And I'll finish the outside shape when I'm done hollowing. I do want to clean the surface up a little bit. So I'm doing more of the shear scrape, and I'm going backwards. And I'm going from larger diameter to smaller diameter, but I can't come uphill with a scrape. I have to go downhill. And headed this way, all that's going to get in the way. When I do a shear scrape and go backwards, following the grain where it's supported, I can get away with that because it's a really sheer cut and the timber is just coming right over the edge. So I'm not really violating any of the golden rules of turning by going by shear scraping in what would be normal direction but backwards to the grain because the grain runs this way, right? So with that angle, if I come up here, coming up this way, none of this grain is supporting that cut. And so it's going to start peeling up fibers. I can't scrape this way. I can't turn this way. I have to, as I made the shape, I had to go this way. Well, I can't scrape that way without tearing up the surface, but I can shear scrape going that way because the wood then is just really in a sheer angle falling right over the edge of the tool. And so the wood behind that bevel is laying down, and I can go all the way to the end. I can do the same thing here, but I don't need to. Oh, you know what? I think I do actually. Tighten it up. Yeah, I do. Replying to Wiley. Hey, Wiley, how are you? Wiley Smiley Kylie. I need to move my tool rest some more here. I think it's too much for my tool steel to get around. I'm not fighting a handle here. I'm fighting just a tool steel length. I still got to get around those corners. So if I'm taking that shear scrape, I'm still going downhill to the fibers, even though it's making that cardiac action here. I've got that support, and I'm not getting fuzzed up grain. Here, right at the outside, right at the curve, the widest part of the goals, I can do it straight because it's fairly flat. Well, okay, it's not flat, but at least it's not an angle like this or this. So I can kind of skate across that surface. And you can't see this. I think this might be a really, really nice piece for a light dye job, maybe. Just bring all this stuff in and out. I think it'd be really cool because the grain comes all the way around. And then on the back side of where these two branches come through, there's an X right at the top. So that's kind of cool. Actually, if I really wanted to play, I guess I could say that those are going to be eyes and this would be the head for something. That could be kind of cool too. We're not doing that today. All right, so it is time to get rid of that tenon and get rid of the tailstock. Let's get that live center out of there. Put that away. I think I'm going to need that. Okay. So when I'm turning, this is the sound that I'm chasing. as far as how the tool is interacting with the wood. It should smooth, controlled, quiet. I want to hear a shush sound, not a bang, 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 knockety, knock, knock. All right, so let's get this guy set up for back hollowing, top cutting, whatever side of the pond you're on. You know, that's probably a little close to start, so we'll come back here. That might be about it. Still a little bit low, tad bit low. I guess if I don't really want to fight it, and I'm not really fighting it, but if I really don't want to do that, I'm going to use this guy. I'm not looking for a finished depth here. I'm looking for, there we go, like 3/4 of the way down. Because as I'm hollowing this out and I have to come around this corner, I gotta change the direction of the gouge. Basically, as it comes over diagonally this way, it changes direction as I lift the handle and I go into the bottom. So I need to start a little bit higher on the bottom here. It's almost, and I'm still kind of playing around with that, but it's almost a similar thing like how much wall thickness I have here to start with is about like where I want to stop in the bottom. So I can go ahead and open that up. And then I'm going to put an edge on this bad boy. Okay, I think that's it. So time to dress this up so I can start hollowing. This ought to go fairly quick because this is green. It's really nice, nicely cutting maple. Okay, light. Where's my light? There it is. As you listen to, this could be a meditation, as you listen to the sounds of the tool as it glides across the CBN wheel, redressing the edge, just relax into the sound. Almost a meditation. Imagine you're there, but you don't have a camera yet for this part. Okay, how close am I? Pretty close. So, if you've been around me for a little while, or even it doesn't take very long, you'll notice I'm kind of particular about my grinds. And they're not, I'll show you why here in a second. And they're not anything weird, like my spindle gouge here, I'm just grinding to 50 degrees. But I need the entire flute or the bottom of the flute rather to be like the entire bottom of the flute is where my nose of the tool and where it comes together at the front. So I want that width. I need that width. I don't need a pointy, grabby tool that's out hunting for catches, because that's pretty much what that tool is. It's a tool out hunting for catches. It's not a forgiving tool, not a forgiving grind, and I'll explain, or at least have a visual of what I'm talking about here in just a moment. There we go. Time to grab the magic pencil. You see on one end of this magic pencil, there's a depth finder. On the other end of this magic pencil is a pointer. So I want to see that the bottom of the flute. That's where I want my nose, that bevel angle. I want that far open. I want it as wide as the flute is wide. I don't want a very pointy tool like this is, because then I've got a higher possibility of getting all kinds of catches. The closer these two wings are, as you get down the tool, the easier it is for both wings to touch when you're making a cut. And so even on my bowl gouges, I do the same thing that you can't see here. Tools catching is a nightmare. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, so the bottom of this flute, that whole space, is the nose of my bowl gouge. It's a parabolic flute, so it's a deeper flute than this detail gouge, but still, that's how I grind my tools. It's not, the outside grind isn't as important. It's like whatever grind you feel comfortable with, 40, 60, 50, whatever it is. You don't want to have a really pointy tool on a gouge. It's just it's catch city, and it's a dangerous way to turn. I guess, I'm kind of curious. I'm going to relieve that heel because I have not hollowed with this that way. So I'm going to relieve that heel really quick and see how that affects this hollowing process. Get the idea from Rudy Lopez, right? I know a lot of other turners probably do this too. I don't normally. But it's not going to take much. I got a little bit. So I'm just kind of. Yeah, I gotta be. No, man, it's worth trying out. It is worth trying out. You call me what you want. It's still practice, and it's exploration. And if it doesn't work out, oh well. It's not something that I can guarantee I'm going to keep doing. I've done this several times over the years with my tools, and I always wind up going to getting rid of that. Hey, thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate it. So I just roughly took that corner off. We'll see how it does with the hollowing process. It might make it go a little smoother. I don't know. Like I said, though, it's like I've done this over the years to tools, trying out different grinds, Mad Monaco, Lyle Jameson. I mean, everybody I've taken classes with, not everybody has like special grind or what have you. Lyle Jameson likes the Irish grind, but straight wings. So it's a variation, which is a variation of the Ellsworth grind, which is a variation of the original Irish grind. So it all goes back to the Irish grind on that side. Matt Monaco has specific grinds that he likes to use. in production work, and they work really, really well. But I don't do tons of that, so I wound up taking those grinds back too to the original grinds that I've got on my gouges. And it may change over the years. I don't know, but it's definitely worth checking out. Well, I'm seeing more difference that having that little heel and not having it. I'm not really, I guess it wouldn't have mattered on this one, to be honest, because I'm not really going on. I am sort of kind of going on the bevel up here, sort of. You can see where I'm cutting, it's right there. So I'm not really doing much with the heel here. But once we get turned around in the bottom, that's where it might make a difference. Well, it's going a little bit quicker. I guess it's been a couple of months since I've done some green turning. It must be. Okay. Just away. I think I've got, yeah, I'm going to straighten out this. Rim of that hole. Starting to get some vibration from the right along the rim. Starting to again. So my rim is fairly thick. Right now it's 3/8 of an inch. It's fairly thick, but I try to keep it until I get to more towards the end of the hollowing. Fairly thick like that, so that when it breaks out, because again we're talking about fibers being in spindle orientation, so any kind of knock on these fibers, there's no support where there's a hole. There's no support to keep them from going in. So any kind of knock that would knock those loose will put a chip in that. And since that's one of my fulcrums right there, there's a chip in there. It's going to give me vibration. So I start out with a smaller hole and work my way slightly larger to get to the wall thickness that I'm shooting for. see, it's already time to put another edge on my tool here. I don't have this running, so yep, no air. So I'll turn that on for a second and then redress the bevel on this guy. I can't wait to try this Jimmy Clue's quick release in the winter. Not been super happy with the results, but I got to call Robust too and talk to him again. I really don't want to have a tool handle where the tool is rolling around when it's cold. Call me kooky, I just think that's dangerous. There we go. Alright, back in business. So the wall thickness is fairly even all the way down to right about here. And I'm pretty sure I packed one of my flashlights into this bag here. The one I was using out here is probably packed in this bag. Let's see. If not, I'll run inside to get the other flashlight. Because I need the light. Stay away from the light. I can't help it. Okay, there it is. And it's fairly clean, so that is a lovely thing. So that is my depth right now. That's going to be my finished depth. I'm not going any deeper than that. Or very little, not very much deeper than that, put it that way. Okay. And I want to take a look at this. I'm not sure if it's because it's moving. During the drying process. Or if the action of hollowing it out. That is not quite running true. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to change its placement in the chuck. There we go. So I'm going to say it's not warping from drying yet, or at least not to that much of an extent that it was out of round just yet. So I've got to make sure that's trued up. That should get me right to here. are just about there. Let's blow that guy out. Alrighty. So I'm just making sure, I'm just refining the thickness of the walls in here. And if I can leave the flashlight on for a second. Should have finished off the bottom. Yes, it did. Okay. Again, just working on the, there we go. Matching up the wall thicknesses here. That's even now. It was a little thicker right down here. So right now I'm shooting for basically a 1/4 inch wall thick. Oh, well, okay. I'm shooting for 1/4 inch wall thickness, and I guess I'm there. I should have evened that up, and it did. Let's blow this out. Take a peek. It's all really clean in there. I'm happy with that. So now you can see. Let's see, let's turn this off. You know what, let's turn it all off. And we'll go straight for the overhead. Okay, so you can see I'm just a little bit thick right here. I want to get rid of this stuff to match this. This is about 1/4 of an inch thick. So I'm going to work on this a little bit, take care of that, and then it'll be a done deal. So, but that looks kind of cool, doesn't it? It looks pretty neat. It's shining a whole lot more brightly here because this is all end grain. End grain is like fiber optics, right? So the light's going to travel right down an end grain. But here where the grain goes all over the place, there's end grain coming straight out there, but none of this is coming straight out. In fact, that's not even either. So, but I could go a little bit thinner here. This also gives me a visual representation of where all the figure is. And the figure does wrap around almost the entire, and he does the whole piece. So that's kind of neat. All right, back to Dave needs light. We'll go with that dude right there. Turn that on. So I'm just going to clean this out a little bit more. I got the tool tucked into my hip, and I'm using my hip to move the tool with my whole body. See how that feels. That's still just a little bit thick right there. That should have done it. Oh yeah. Nice. All right, off with the lights again. So now you can see that's where all the figure's going. It's up over this way. But that's the thickness that I wanted. It just looks a little different here because of the figure that runs through the wood here. So I was able to capture it all the way around the piece. That's awesome. Yay! Hooray! And a nice even wall thickness. I just got to finish my rim here and then flip it around. I'm going to take light cuts. This is now, it's about a 1/4 inch thick. 1/4 inch thick vessel. I don't want to put too much stress on it. Nice smooth transition. All right, this might actually, maybe, it's not quite. I'm still going to try it. It might be dry enough to sand the outside, maybe. Probably not, so. It's gumming up the paper. Maybe abrasive. So I'll touch some of it, but it's still too wet. Man, that I do what I can though, because I think I'm gonna just let this dry into whatever shape it decides it wants to do. I think it'll be interesting in these three branches. I'd be curious to see if it doesn't pinch together right there. Try to make a divot, and then two bulges right there. Maybe might, I don't know, but I think it'll be interesting to see. Okay, so that's all I can do for the sanding at least. And I need a key. Who's got a key? I've got a key. Oh yeah, that inside's really clean. I really like this technique. It's nice. Once you get a good handle on it. Okay, I don't have to sand. I don't do anything with the inside of that I don't want to. I guess that's always the case, to be clear. I can always leave it any way I want to. But no tool marks. That's what I want. Alright, let's line this dude up. So my X is right there. I'm going to put that right in between the jaws here. I don't need a ton of pressure. This is green wood too, because I'm going to bring the tailstock up. I just need to bring the tailstock up. I'm going to get rid of all of this and finish off the bottom. So it's still a little bit loose, but I'm going to bring the tailstock and make sure everything seats. And again, I don't need tons of pressure. This is green wood. I don't want to mark it up if I can avoid it, because then later on that'll be a pain in the ass to try to clean up. But if it looks like a pattern, which is why I lined it up the way I did, if it looks like a pattern, then it's not as noticeable. Like the eye glides over it. Whereas, like, if it looks like an obvious flaw or whatever you want to call it, the eye kind of gravitates towards it because it's different. It's not the same as the rest. It's a different surface. But if there's a pattern of those surfaces, then it's no longer the outlier. If that makes sense to you, it's no longer the oddball out. It's now part of the background, part of the whole thing, instead of just being like, oh, there's a mark there, I can see that. Yay. Running true, so I'm going to give myself a little divot here for my tailstock, my live thing. Just to keep everybody honest. And it's time to swap back to the bow guard, since I'm going to take and more or less hogging stuff off. Not really going to beat the hell out of it, but I want a meatier, beefier tool to do the heavy work. So clearly I need to sharpen my bow guard. I'm not getting just shavings out of it. But I'm also not going to be working on the finished outside of this with the bow guard. I'll be using my spindle gouge, it still has a good edge. Now is when I'm going to start. You know what? Yep, it's time to swap steel. That's just not sharp enough for what I'm trying to do right now. So what I want to do is I want to start matching. Just get a sharp one, Dave. Don't be fooling around. Okay, there we go. I want to start matching this curve ahead of time because my finished cut's got to be taking the rest of whatever is there off. So I want to follow this curve in my mind. I'm going to line my bevel up with it. And bring it all the way around. I didn't mark my bottom. Still not too late for that, but that is, well, let's see, I think I can refine it a little bit more. There we go. So that is my final curve for the bottom. Now I can come in with the spindle gouge. And finish that up. Got my bevel rubbing, I'm not making any cut. I'm not on the bevel, I just slightly adjust to get that cutting edge engaged. And then, I don't know, I guess you could call it floating the bevel. I'm not actually on the bevel. I start off on the bevel. The bevel is going to give me the direction that the tool wants to cut. I want to start there. But to engage the cutting edge, I can't be on the bevel. I can't be in two places at one time. Case in point, I'm on the bevel. I'm not making any cuts. No cuts at all. There was a cut because I had a little bit off the bevel. A little bit of a hump there. You can rub the bevel all day long and never make a cut. I don't like to use that term bevel support or ride the bevel because you're really not. Again, the bevel you can rub that bevel all day long and it won't do anything until you shift the tool enough to engage that cutting edge. Then you're off the bevel and you're floating the bevel. It's not very far off the surface to be true. You're just kicked up enough to engage the cutting edge here. So here I'm on the bevel and I have to move, I don't know, that's as far as handle travel, maybe a quarter of an inch to get the cutting edge engaged. That's the bevel, move about a quarter of an inch in, and I'm counting it off the very end of the tool. Here, it's like maybe a 32nd, maybe a 64th of an inch is all I'm shifting right up here. But that translates to a much further distance because this lever, this rod, is going to read what the same angle, just further out in the circle. So there we are. That is pretty much the finished guy. I'm going to I'm going to cut this off. I could turn it away. Actually, I'm going to turn what's left away, but I didn't want to try to turn that stuff away and risk tearing out any fibers in the bottom. Clean cut. A little bit of abrasive to blend just that little bit in. And it is a done deal. Then I want to put a flashlight on it. I want to see. Because I didn't mark my bottom for the outside cut. It went with memory, which is not always a smart thing. But I didn't go through the bottom, so I don't know what that means though. Like, by how far? If there is something like that, or maybe I just missed it by an eighth of an inch. I'm going through. Hope not. Well, in any case, I missed going through the bottom. There, that's the good news. The other good news is nobody that I don't tell is going to know if this is thinner or thicker than that. It'd be somebody I'd have to tell. And I'm not telling anybody. Except all y'all. Yeah, it's a pity. It's still just a little too green to sand. And I'm just trying to really kind of clean up the surface. What I'm expecting to find is that the figure in the piece really starts to wrinkle and pucker. And that's what I'm going to want to be playing around with if I do dye on this. Is that wrinkle and pucker. All right. Let's take this and put a flashlight through it. What the hell? Okay, so I've got just a little bit of work to do here where the jaws just left a dark mark, but that won't take very much to sand away. There's some slight indentation on the rim, but because it's in a pattern, once I get that color out there, nobody's going to really pay attention to that. All right, here we go. No lights. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so just a little thick in the bottom. It's not that bad. Just a little bit. But I didn't mark the bottom, so that is way better than going through. So it's just a little bit thick here, but that's okay. That's quite all right. Once it's dry, nobody gonna know, because I ain't telling nobody. All right, so that is a nice piece that I did, top cutting, back hollowing, whatever your flavor that you want to call it is. Got to let that dry before I can do anything else to it as far as sanding, but I'm really looking forward to playing with all this figure that's in here. I think I will do some dye. I just want to get a nice surface to start with, so this has to dry for a bit. I'll be out here later sanding the outside, I'm sure. I don't want to let it wait until tomorrow, because then I might miss the opportunity to put it back on the lathe and be able to sand it that way instead of have to sand everything by hand because it's out of round. All right, what's next?
Say, Rudy says, awesome job.
Oh, hey, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. That actually means a lot. Thank you. And anyway, that is hollowing with just a spindle gouge. I could have used.
Said, sweet.
Oh, thanks. I can't wait to show you all what it looks like once I have the actual finish on the surface, whatever that finish is going to be. But I really want to do something to make that grain pop. So I'm thinking a little, actually I'm thinking a little bit of highlighting that feathering and stuff. I'm going to try to do that. All right, what's next? Let's see. Well, I've got some walnut here. I got walnut there, and I got walnut everywhere. I had a. Is that it? I had a little bull blank I was going to play with. How much time we got? Oh hell! All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go outside, and I'm gonna grab another piece of green wood. Heck yeah! And we'll turn this one, and this one will be a lot closer to what we went over in Rudy's class. Let's see. I think that'll be a good one. Yeah, that'll be a good one. That could be a good one too, but we'll just make sure. All right. Yeah, so far it's turning out to be a fairly decent night outside. It's not freezing freaking cold. And that's not a bad thing. All right, how's my audio? Still pumping? Good deal. All right, so we're going to go with this guy. Back to going between centers. And 10 points to the house that guesses how I'm going to start this. Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Slytherin. Anyone? Between centers, yes. 5 points for Gryffindor. So I'm going to set it on its balance point because that's where I like to start.
Wiley Smiley Kylie said, are you riding with Joe and Rudy tomorrow?
I sure hope so. Hadn't had a chance to talk to anybody. I actually was waiting on a return call, and that's kind of, I don't know, my mind just slipped that it was Tuesday, I guess, or that I should be streaming. But I called and left a message to see what's happening because I don't know. But yes, I would like to. I understand. Last I heard was about 10 o'clock. Leaving about 10.
Wiley Smiley Kylie said, yes, says Joe.
10 o'clock? Okay, I will be there. I will be there. Probably even drinking my first cup of coffee. Okay, we're on the balance point. Don't need that key in the way. Okay. So if you've been around for a little while, you also know that I'm going to secure the piece in the lathe as best I can. All right, let's see. I can put that away for a little bit. We're going for the bowl gouge. And we're going to get rid of all this bark. Basically I want a cylinder, and I think I'm going to use a longer tool rest for this guy for now. Set my height. Yeah, looks about right. And make sure I clear everywhere. It's probably a little close, but we'll just go for that guy first. So I'm going to start here and work that off. Now I can get closer and get all the way across in there. Wow, looks like there's figure in there, man. But there's... Oh, that was a branch at some point. Oh, yeah, that would explain it. Okay. Oh, I love sharp tools. Sharp tools are awesome. So still got some stuff happening there. Oh, I thought I got most of it off, but I guess I was wrong. I don't think that did either. All right, so most of that's gone. A lot of little pin knots in it, so nothing like super spectacular. Ooh, except for that, which is going to disappear. What a bummer. Now I got a good surface to play with. So it should be about, yeah, right about 6 inches. Yeah. Pencil, Dave. There's pencil. Here's my center line. So I can choose, okay, first I'm going to choose where my outside edge is. And then I can choose to do whatever I want with beads over here. I can make different sizes. I can do all kinds of crazy things. So I'm going to try, actually, what I didn't try in class, I'm going to try that here. I had this weird brain thing happen to me, as it often does, and said, hey, let's see if this would work. And it's cool too, because you also get to see, I mean, this is pretty much what happens to me. The things that I work through and go through, like when I take classes from somebody, too tall, I start playing around with possibilities and seeing what I can do here. this guy. I got this guy.
Nagofenko said, best viewers on streamblue.com. Remove the space at 80XLL.
Thank you, spam bot. I appreciate that. All right, back to the spindle gouge. Where did you go? Where did I put you? That wasn't it. There we go. Now we'll see if this heel does, this relief heel does anything for me here. Whoa, yeah. We also have to check, well, I knew I had to check the height, but for some reason I didn't check the height and double check that my tool rest was secure. Alright, so I started my outside of the beads. And the cool thing about this, like I can change. So let's do that. I can change the diameter anytime I want to, or the diameter, the thickness of the bead. So let's do that. And do 5 of those. And then 3 more of the smaller ones, so we have an even distribution. Hello. So I addressed the tool improperly and then I got a little bit of escape. And right now I'm just cleaning up the beads a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. I want to make them round. And I went too fast. Just skirting the edge of that tool after the end of it. But I promised I had an eye on it the whole time. Alright, so going off the 5, this will be my center guy, so that's going to be where I'm going to turn center. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the size of these beads a little bit. All right. So now this is my center. And there's no real, like, crazy cool features or whatever, so it doesn't matter really where I put. Although I do want to err on the side of the pith being up close to the top. So I don't really need to be, well, I'm not looking for a way to move it to capture a feature in the wood, because this is pretty plain wood. So instead, what I want to focus on is this pith. And the pith is above center on this side right now, so I want to make this my center so that the pith is in the upper part. This is going to be my top. Since the pith is up closer to one side or the other, I'm going to make that my top. If the pith was perfectly centered, then it wouldn't matter which way I went. That is not the case here. Let's see which one locks it down. Is that it? Nope. That one. So really, I just need to mark this. Make sure that that's there. I want to carry this line through just to the other side. And now I'll go 180 degrees out, which is somewhere in there. And I'm going to double check my line here on this side. I got to pull this out of the check anyway. So that's going to be a point, and that's going to be a point. And I'll just mark one for now. So there, my line does actually go pretty well straight across. When I sight down the line here, I can see the center mark I made was actually on where the line should be. So this center mark is good. It's going to match that one, basically 180 degrees out. And then I didn't try what I was thinking of trying. I don't think I'm going. You know what? Yes, I am. Well, it's too late to try what I was thinking of trying, but it's not too late to make the design I thought about making. So I'm going to do that. And I'll have to practice my idea on another piece. So instead of having sharp angles here, I'm going to turn toes. And this, which is something I didn't get to try in class. This should go fairly quickly anyway. Oh, that was a skate. I guess we'll have to clean that up. Let's do that with this spinner there. That's what I wanted to do. Let's see if I can actually pull it off. Oh, I can. It's going to take twice as long though. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm having fun, yeah. A bead and then a cove, and then a bead, and then a cove. Alright, so that's what I wanted to try out, was doing a continuous line, bead and cove. And it looks like I can. I didn't know if it was going to be a possible thing or not. All right, man. All right. I just did something else new. That's cool. New to me, anyway. So I didn't quite hear what you said. TC Smoke, really went to bed. You are safe now. Safe from what? No, thank you. Okay, this is when all the accidents are going to, or the design changes are going to happen now that Rudy's gone to bed. Hey, man, I just got to practice that bead cove, bead cove. That worked out nice. It's a little bit more involved than just a running bead. Well, I guess that should be obvious, but I'm going to have to figure out the spacing of it to be able to do that in one continuous go. Cool, man. All right, now it's time for the old bull guys. What time we got? Oh, yeah, I should have this maybe even done. All right, so that is all my stuff. I'm going to remark my center. Now that it's not going to show up on the wood because the wood's so wet. Oh, it's because you're not actually locked down. Okay. I think one. Is that too many? No, I don't think so. So we'll call that. Yep, it's right on. Okay, cool. So, because the pith is up here, this is center. The pith is above center. This is my top right here. Let's put that away. All right. Let's see. Bow gouge. Oh, I need a bow gouge. So that's the pith, or at least the pith on that side, and it comes out right here on this side. So they're pretty close to each other. Pretty straight piece. So if I cut this way to make a rounded edge, I'm going to start pushing things off of there. So I need to cut this way. Since I'm at that halfway mark, I'm going through the tree until I hit the halfway point. And that's the same thing as how far can you go into the woods? You can only go halfway, because then you're on your way out. Same thing here. You can only go halfway, because then you're on your way out and you can start pushing away. So I have to come at this from two different sides. Since I want to start making that bowl shape, I need to cut this way. I'm past the halfway point, which is why I'm getting this tear out. Well, one of the reasons why I'm getting this tear out. We're going to address that right now. That should do. So got a little bit of tear out, but it's like right on the very end, and so breaking enough doesn't make it look goofy. I'm going to turn this really thin too, so I think, let's see. See how that worked? Not bad. I'm going backwards in what looks normal, but I'm following the support for the grain. Okay. Not looking too bad. Okay, that's a pretty good curve. I think I'll go with that. Got my chuck hold here ready to go. Need my spindle gouge back, please. Thank you very much. And now I can put this in the chuck. But before I do put it in the chuck, oops. Just so that part doesn't bottom out in the chuck. All right, let's get that guy out of here. And hey, what the heck, let's go with the Vic mark again. Hit the side of that tenon. And the green wood just squirted right out of the chuck. What I'm looking at I'm looking at the very edge here, watching this thickness. I can see the cut happen. I've got my bevel lined up with the outside of the form, and then I'm following that to get my wall thickness. Once I get in here where I can't see that cut happen, I can already see where the shavings are coming over the tool, so I keep that depth going all the way through that way. And I think I'll take one more pass, because I don't know if that's as thin as I want it. Yeah, one more. Now this is going to flex because it's green. So I'm only moving as fast, but this is every other time I'm taking a cut too. I'm only moving as fast as the tool will cut through the material. I'm not trying to force it. I'm not trying to push it. So I've got an even wall thickness here. No tool marks. Or at least really, really minor. And that is where I want to leave it. I could probably get a little bit. I could get thinner than that if I had started it in stages. I could make it thinner than that. Or if I wanted to switch to a scraper, which I think for that part I do. Which should be over here in my tool bag. Oh yeah, and I can put an actual burr on it. We've got to work with some CBN wheels. I guess they're the clubs. I don't know, but they seem mighty dull. And they're very fine grit, so it took a lot longer to get a decent burr up on my tool, and I can see it's kind of changed. There we go. Kind of changed my geometry a little bit. But hey, it's taken care of now. All right, so let's do this. So just a very, very light touch. Very, very light. Just one pass, and those are very, very tiny shavings. Just to clean that up. All done. And I can always grab, hey, I can do that too. I can grab the glue block that I had at class to use as a jam chuck. There's the leather. There's that guy. Oh, and I'm going to shut off that compressor. Okay, off it goes. Let's see, that one should stay in there. Why not? So now I need to mark my depth, my bottom. Which will be right there. Just double check on the other side and see if those lines match up. Well, it appears to me that they do, so I'm going to take those two measurements and say it's one good measurement. All right, time for the spindle gouge. Do I need... Well, first I need to get all the dried green shavings off of it. Yeah, I think that'll do. Yeah, I'm going to redress the edge on this guy. Just needs a little bit of work, but enough that it's not making the cut that I want to make. Okay. issue is that my tool rest is not at the right height. There we go. All right, so what do I want to do with that? I think I want to make it good. And then I think I want to do, the pith guide didn't get into this picture, but that's all right. Okay. Be too far away, so we'll do it this way. And from there, we'll turn a sphere. Up to me. I gotta watch out for that wing coming around. And then do a series of beads right here. If I can get my fingertips in the right spot. Just like that. that heat up a little bit, and then I'll blend this surface right into that bottom bead. Paying attention to that wing that's coming around. I'm not on the safe side of the tool rest anymore. There we go. And then let's see, let's make that the size of the base. There we go. Now comes the fun part. Where is it? There it is. Alas, this abrasive isn't going to. Maybe it will work. Well, nope. I broke it off. Oh well. I was almost there. Fooling around. All right, well. So there's that. That's the base. I was going to flip it around, but I'm not now. So now we're done. That's kind of a bummer, but that's all right. I was kind of playing around anyway. Okay, so we had very even wall thickness all the way through. As you can see, I had beads turned. I broke this off because it's green wood and I was not being careful. So beads turned, all that stuff. That was fun. So I went just a little bit too hard on the pressure there, and that's my fault. All right, we're gonna wrap this up. Oh, look at that! We hit right at 11 o'clock too. So I will bring this over tomorrow. Kind of bummed about it a little bit because like that would have been really cool to hand over. Do me a favor. Would you take a look at this? Tell me what you think. Maybe I'll have fun with it and I'll glue it together and say, there, I got that far. Where do you think I should go next? But anyway, it turned out pretty all right. Okay. If you came in a little bit late, howdy, my name is Dave. I'm a wood turner and I started turning as therapy for PTSD. Found out I had a knack for it and fell in love with it. And then I started teaching it, fell in love with that. So I started this channel to become a better teacher and a better demonstrator, a better turner, because practice is the key. That's the secret sauce. And the more I get to work with other turners and share the knowledge I've picked up over the years, the more it gets cemented in my own head too. So it's a win-win. I really think it's a great interaction. And then watching them do the work, that kind of helps cement it for me too. So it's all kind of a circular thing, I think. Working with people in the wood turning world. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining me on this Switch Tuesday. Got a little bit of a late start, about half an hour, but it happens. But back again tomorrow night. The idea is I'll be here 8 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully I won't space out Tuesday again. I don't know what the heck is going on. I don't know if it's got to be, it's got to be like the season change or something. Something is throwing me off because it's getting dark well before. Well, not well before. It's starting to get dark, like right when I'm streaming now. And I've gotten so used to being it light until basically about 11 o'clock. And this is the time of year where everything just starts to get a lot less daylight hours, and at some point it'll all start going gray, and I'm not looking forward to that. But I have this happy lathe, and this happy lathe is going to help me get through some of that this winter. And I hope you'll join me on Tuesday and Wednesday evenings right here on Twitch. My name again is Dave. I hope you all stay friendly, and I do hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll be back again tomorrow evening. Hope you join me then. Take care, folks, and good night.